as soon as I listen to her tell me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
There it is.
The meeting is called to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Canos,
Here.
Mr. Ambelang,
Here.
Ms. Greenfield,
Here.
Ms. McCready is absent, Mr. McQueen is absent, Mr. Romero,
Here.
Ms. Zamara.
Here.
Okay. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Bernardsville News, Courier News, and the Star Ledger, filed with the municipal clerk and posted on the municipal bulletin board on December 27th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, yes. So we have a proclamation. Let me just get it up here. This is for Distracted Driving Awareness Month 2022. Whereas, according to the National Safety Council, more than 700 injury crashes involve distracted driving on an average day, and the economic toll of all motor vehicle crashes in the U.S. annually exceeds $400 billion. Whereas, talking on a mobile phone, even in hands-free mode, texting, programming your dashboard infotainment system or GPS device, and various other distractions can divert your attention away from driving and result in physical or cognitive distraction. Whereas Bernardsville residents and all Americans deserve to live in communities of all levels of government, employers, and the general public. Whereas the Borough of Bernardsville recognizes efforts by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the National Safety Council, the Bernardsville Police Department, and various other law enforcement agencies to promote policies, practices, and procedures leading to increased safety, protection, and health in business and industry, in schools and colleges, on roads and highways, and in homes and communities. Whereas the month of April 2022 is designated as Distracted Driving Awareness. Whereas the Bernardsville Police Department will be participating in the You Text, You Drive, You Pay Distracted Driving Awareness campaign from April 7th to the 11th, 2022, to providing public education and increased enforcement of distracted driving laws. Whereas spring is a time when people begin to log more miles on the road, and it is imperative to focus attention on motor vehicle injury risks and preventions. Now, therefore, I, Mary Jane Canos, Mayor of the Bernardsville Borough, Somerset County in the state of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim Bernardsville's support of Distracted Driving Awareness Month in April 2022, and strongly urge the citizens and businesses of Bernardsville to observe Distracted Driving Awareness Month by practicing safe driving behaviors and pledging to drive distraction-free. That is the proclamation, and I hope people will not just do it in April, but all the time. Okay, we now have our first, I guess the only open session tonight. So if anyone in the public would like to make a comment, please raise your hand either with the icon or by waving. And when you are recognized, give us your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Anthony Suriano will hold up a timer so you can tell how long you've been talking. I saw Johanna's hand go up like lightning, so you may go first.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I've recently been attending seminars and a lot of Zooms for environmental commissioners. I did an advanced one last week. So I've known about this, but it was brought to my attention again that municipalities are responsible for education. Everyone should do a program for the MS4. You're probably aware of it already because I know our experts all have done it, but it's for stormwater. that I'm concerned about. The DEP does permitting, and then the municipality records it. And why I wanted to mention it, because we have new members on the Board of Adjustment, and I just think my take is that stormwater is here, no matter what you think about climate change or global warming, just because of development. And we certainly don't want to interfere with development. We want, in my mind, I want to see us plan for it and accommodate it. And I think this program, it's a 45-minute introduction for municipal officers. And then there are follow-ups that specialize, and I'm always happy when there are tools and solutions that are suggested. So what I'm doing is just hoping that we do what we can to make sure that all of the people that call the shots know about. I think you have to start with awareness and make sure everyone knows. So that's it.
Can you, Johanna, can you send us the information or link of how people?
I can. Yeah, the debate.
Yeah.
Actually, I was surprised to see that I was able to find. I mean, I could see names on it. You know, like Mr. Zabo and Brightly and
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. But I'll firm that up because I'm not the most techie person. So I'll get that to you. Good.
That'd be
Thank
great.
you very much. And I know you are, and many of you are. I just think stormwater is here. It relates to water, and it's here. So, okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, thank you, Johanna. Anyone else wish to be heard in the public session? I do not see any. Oh, I see Carrie. Go, Carrie.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for hearing me out tonight. I just had a quick question. Looking back towards the steering committee that I served on when we were working on the recreation and open space master plan, I note that on that survey and 2 other surveys, the number 1 item for everyone across our borough was hiking trails and walking trails. And I was just wondering what kind of progress we're making on cutting trails or advertising or showing people where the trails that we do have are, so that we can get this going for the borough and for everybody in it that wants to have more trails.
Yeah, actually, Carrie, we're in the process of working with the engineer in getting that all laid out. And the last meeting I mentioned that I'm going to form, and I think you're one of the people you're going to get invited to be on this committee. It's just a mayor's ad hoc to kind of be trail monitors and help with just, working on getting trails noticeable, getting signs up, making sure that the trail is clear. So yeah, if you are interested in that, you'll be getting.
I would love to do that. I just feel like there are different levels of trails. There's trails that need to be handicap accessible, and I know we're working on that. We're going to have a path that's going to go around the polo grounds that is in the works to get that done. But I feel like there are also trails that are extant in the community now that they may never rise to the level of handicap accessibility. But if you look at a national park, not every trail rises to that engineering level. So some things are just a simple walk through the woods, which I think we have got some of those already, and we could quickly have more with literally volunteer labor. And I put my hand up first to do that, so that we could just, let's just do the thing that the people want most for us to do. And I'll take my clipper out and do it, but just need a little bit of permission to do so. But happy to put my labor on the line for that. And I think for no money, essentially, we could show a great progress in doing the one thing that everyone said they wanted more of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And cheap, on the cheap.
Yes, you'll be hearing from me.
Okay.
And
super.
also Suburban Engineering, who's working on the trail design and the polo grounds, is going to be making a presentation, I believe, in May on what they recommend. And so we'll have a lot more information on kind of the first phase of that recreation project, which will include, I think, the path connections and so hopefully we'll have that next month.
Okay, very good. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Carrie. Would anyone else like to be heard? Nicholas Irabino?
Hi, Mayor Canos. First time actually attending a meeting. Sorry, don't worry. I pulled over for the meeting. I wasn't going to be distracted driving. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it home to my computer. Still out and about working. Love the fact that you reached out to the public on the bubble about 45 Mine Avenue repaving. We immediately went to the website, the borough website, looking for info, and we couldn't find it. Our neighbors, at least down my end of Mine Avenue, we definitely need things repaved. So that was actually really great, but we're worried about loss of frontage. We're worried about once it's actually up and running, is it going to actually be plowed curb to curb? Because I'll tell you what, Mayor Canos, there are 3 good DPW guys that do plow curb to curb, and there are a couple guys that don't. And I usually can't even get into my driveway. Thankfully, I own a plow. Also, a few of us have actually gone ahead over the years and done our driveways. Mine's several years old now. My across the street neighbor did a beautiful job. He actually put out some Belgian block curbing. We're a little concerned that some things are going to be dug up. I like the fact that Liberty was done so well a few years ago, but what I noticed coming into Liberty is whatever you guys put down there does not match what I have in my driveway, because I put down in my driveway what's on 202. It was an investment I made with Harrington. I told him, I said, I want what you put on the roads because I don't want it crumbling apart. And we're kind of concerned. We have a nice little road here. It's nestled back. We love it. I can almost speak for everybody. I think that we love our little neck of the town, but we don't have any information on what's going on. And before we give you an email signing on to whatever your plan is, we were wondering if we could get a little bit more information and also voice our concern just to make sure we're spoken for. That's about it.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing it up. I think for the rest of the council, I don't know if Public Works probably knows, but Doug Walker attended a meeting that Congressman Malinowski did looking, on the federal community projects like the one we got for the Boylan Terrace walkway. Found out that you can't get that award 2 years in a row, but he did mention another kind of community grant that we could be eligible for. Because originally what we wanted to do was do Bernards Avenue to pave and do the engineering, and then the surrounding neighborhoods, the side streets. And we did not have the budget for that, and we didn't get a grant for that. We only got a grant for Bernards Ave. So Doug Walker is going to apply for this other grant to see if we can get the funding to then deal with those other side streets. At this point, all I'm asking of the people that live there is if they support us applying for a grant to do something. We don't have any of the engineering done or any of that. It's just really, actually, we might have just the basic. I don't know. Tom, do you know if there's any engineering done at all yet?
Mayor, I just wanted to thank you. Although you're correct that we're applying for this grant for next year, we did budget to do the detailed engineering for those other roads in this year's budget. So
Okay.
As soon as we adopt next week, we'll be able to get rolling.
Okay, so once we start the engineering, we can then start looking at the concerns the neighbors have, because they'll be down on the street talking to you probably, because the engineer has to look at the drainage and the materials and work through all of that. And then hopefully we'll get the funding to do something. So we'll keep you posted. Yeah.
Mayor, if I understood the question correctly, under DPW on the website, under frequently requested information, there's a link that says road list and repair plan. And, it takes a couple clicks down.
Couple clicks to get there. Yeah, but it's not talking specific. I don't think it's talking about, does it mention these side streets, Mine Avenue and Grove? And
No, it just shows what we did and what's going to happen this year.
Okay. Yeah,
But it shows the progress we've been making though. And
yeah,
definitely a priority, those roads.
right. So this is, Nicholas, what we're asking for is just if you support us doing something, you know, like trying to get the funding, and then we'll deal with, you know, what those issues are. Does that make sense?
Thank you, Mayor Canos. You'll get an email. Trust me, I'm tired of hot patching the end of my street just so I don't dump out into it every morning. So
Yeah.
I appreciate your work on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Anyone else want to be heard? Anthony, do you see any hands up?
No, I don't see anybody else.
Okay, I think we're good. Then I will close the public session. And we have an ordinance to introduce. Oh, this was for the farmer's market so that we could add the distillery.
Yes, exactly.
Great. So who would like to move it?
I'll do it.
Okay, thanks, Diane.
I move that ordinance 2022-1912, allowing holders of certain alcoholic beverage manufacturing licenses to sell their products at the Bernardsville Farmers Market, and amending Chapter 3 of the Borough Code entitled Police Regulations to be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning at 7:00 p.m. Monday, April 25th, 2022.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Moving on to resolutions, we have 2289 to 2297. I just have to say I met the two new patrolmen when they took their oath of office. They are just really very passionate, excited to be working in Bernardsville, and they look so young. But really, I think they'll be a real asset to our force. So hopefully when we're back in public, we'll actually get to bring them in and meet them face to face. So, and also what's on the 2297 is your approval for Doug Walker to do this grant application to see if we can get the money for those side streets. Would someone like to move them?
I move to adopt
Go ahead.
resolutions 2289 to 2297.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Ambelang,
Yes.
Ms. Greenfield,
Yes.
Mr. Ribeiro,
Yes.
Ms. Zamara.
Yes.
All right, items of business, the Boylan Terrace connection path. Chad had asked at the last meeting just to share. I think it was 2 years ago, we had asked Topology to do kind of a conceptual idea of what can be done in that area. So in addition to the walking path, he had some other concepts of an exercise park or a dog park. So at this point, I think what we're going to do is ask the engineer, as he's working on these plans, to also look at what else we can do in that area once it starts to get cleared, and forward that on to him. So, you know, he has some ideas of what we could do there, because it could be a whole community area. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at the topology thing.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this, when it goes over the train tracks, is this up high or is this low?
It doesn't go over the train tracks.
It goes by the crossing, where the crossing is?
Yeah, it goes over the stream. The only bridge will be over the stream.
Gotcha.
It's going to be kind of a zigzag down the side because it needs to be handicapped accessible. So that it has to be on the right angle of the ramps. It'll be downlit, so there won't be lights, you know, in people's eyes. And then it'll be like a bridge over the stream and end up down at Depot Station by MJ Neal there, that's where you would cross.
So the crossing already is. Okay, that's what I thought. I just wasn't sure. Thanks.
And are we assigning an engineer at this point? To this, we haven't secured funding, correct?
Yes, actually, our engineer has done a lot of the work already. It's pretty much shovel ready at this point. What we're waiting for is for Congressman Malinowski's office to let us know what the, I don't know what you'd call them, how we go about securing the funding, how they're going to give us the money, basically, is what we need to find out. What's the process? But we do have all the engineering work done. I think most of it is almost, ready to go out to bid once we figure out how we're going to get the money.
Got it. So it's not until we actually have gotten the money that we're going to go out to
Right.
bid. And then do we feel confident? I understand that the amount of money that we got is the expected amount that we would have to pay for this. So there would be no charge to the borough.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and we had the engineering done in order to get a price to put into the application. And part of the reason we got selected was because we had all that preliminary work done, with accurate estimates and, the basic engineering all done.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. The food pantry request, that was from the last meeting. And I know we talked about what, where, how, and one of the suggestions that I think might work is the Ammerman lot. I don't know how everybody feels about that. It's still, walkable for most of the people in that neighborhood. It's roomy. It's never busy. Peter's here. So I don't know if that is a spot that you think would work. You can pull into the back or in the front and park the truck.
I'm not familiar with it. Is there an address?
It is the parking lot that's just before you get to the bridge there, like behind
Mount Airy Road.
Building on Mount Airy Road. It's across from the Spanish grocery.
Wouldn't that, across from the Spanish grocery, wouldn't that be the parking lot of the Palmer property?
No, there's another lot that's a borough lot.
Okay.
On the other side of the train tracks.
Parking lot?
Yeah, it's a fairly big.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with it. It requires a permit, right?
Yes.
Right.
And it's never busy. It's never full.
No, I think that's great. I love that spot. My only concern is the cold weather, which, the baseball park in the cold weather, if it's not being used, we could possibly use the concession stand. So, we maybe could pay rent to the town just to make it worth your while. But half the time, that's really just all you need for the volunteers to be able to stay warm and have plumbing, because the people come, all year round. And based on, I don't want to be, negative, but there seem to be legitimate concerns about food shortages, 6 to 9 months from now. But whether there are or not, I don't think this need is ever going to go away. So I don't need an answer now. We're going into the warm weather, but if you could just, if it would be possible to use something, we could just work out of the back of the truck, right? But it's just harder on the volunteers if it's cold weather or bad weather. They'll still come as long as it's reasonable. Well, they work for the church, so they have to come. So they're really not volunteers, but they didn't sign up for that. They signed up to have plumbing. Anyway, thank you. That would be great. So whatever you need from us paperwork wise.
Anthony can give you all that. It is what the requirements are for insurance and.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, I'll get you that. Sure.
Okay.
Could we use the park one more week, just because it's hard to reach out to these people? They're not all speaking English and tech savvy, so we could just hand them something that the following week we would be in the lot.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Make up a little map. And should we start earlier tomorrow? Because I think baseball season started, right?
It did. They didn't have their official kickoff, but they have practices and things going on. So,
We've
but
been
they're-
starting at 3. I could tell them to come at 2, just
Yeah.
to make it easier for the traffic flow.
yeah, that would be great.
The public
Okay.
school's off this week, so
Oh, right.
everybody's, so they might be practicing earlier. I don't know.
Or
they
in
might not
Florida.
be having, but yeah, they might not be having practice.
That's true. I don't know what they're doing.
When we used to run the cafe, I would ask kids where they went on their family vacation, and it was like Monaco or, whatever. Not where, it wasn't the Jersey Shore
Yeah.
for some of those kids. So I had to look it up on the map sometimes. Anyway, whatever. So very, very grateful for your cooperation and very appreciative.
Okay, great. Oh, yeah, keep in touch with Anthony and, you can work out the details with him.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Where's Jack? Jack, the contract with Integra Realty Resources for an appraisal of 380.
Yes, this is the ongoing saga of the tax appeal for 380 Claremont, which, as you know, those taxpayers also filed a civil suit against Ed, Carolyn, Tom, and Anthony. But our appraiser, who was our expert witness at the county board appeal hearing, unfortunately passed away. So we had to hire a new appraisal company to do both years. So that's the reason that's on the agenda.
So do we need a resolution?
No, I think just if you just give a consensus, okay, that's enough.
Okay, everybody okay with that?
Yep,
Okay, good.
thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, mayor's update. There we go. Let me find it first. Okay, March 30th, let's see. I attended the Stigma-Free Mental Health Matters Conference Planning Meeting. This conference is going to be on May 12th from 10 to 2 in North Plainfield, and it is not just for mental health professionals. We are inviting representatives from the municipalities, from the police departments, from schools, and parents as well. The topics they'll cover will be law enforcement and mental health, suicide prevention, and the new 988 hotline, how to find services in Somerset County, youth crisis services, multicultural mental health, and multiple pathways to recovery. If you are interested or know someone you think might want to attend that conference, they can just Google stigma-free Somerset County. It's a free conference, and I think it's a lot of good information. We are having a mental health crisis, I think, at this point following COVID. So the more we can do to help people having mental health issues, the better. They had a public hearing for the Somerset County Preservation Plan, which is very ambitious, and I hope it all comes to be. A lot of good stuff in that plan for the county. I attended the fundraiser at the Bernardsville Theater that they did for Ukrainian children, which was very generous of Harvey Goldberg to provide the theater and 3 movies. They raised $5,000 that evening, so that was a good program. The Cultural Arts Committee, we are almost at the Faces in Bernardsville art show. You should have received an invitation. The council has been invited to the opening reception. Yes, did you get that? No? They're supposed to send them out. That is Friday, April 22nd from 6 to 8 in Studio 7. What we'll be doing is the portraits will be in Studio 7. Copies of them will be in 21 different stores around town over that weekend. So people can walk around and see them, and then they'll be taken to the library where they'll be on display for 2 weeks. Some of them are just amazing. What some of the high school students did for the portraits, really, and all different mediums. So I think it's, hope you can come to that. Let's see. Well, we were working on the Q&A. You saw that. The Easter extravaganza on Saturday was amazing. They had twice as many people, I think, as they expected, something like, and it was like 1,000 people. They had 2,000 eggs for the Easter egg hunt, and they only got through 2 hunts. They were supposed to have 4 because they were wiped out. It was, they had the Easter bunny, petting zoo, crafts. It was just a great, really, really nice day, even with the rain. So a big thank you to Downtown Bernardsville and Recreation. Bob and Leah did a fabulous job organizing that, and Olivia. We did have a meeting this morning with New Jersey Transit, so we're working on the lease for the train station. So that's moving along. I'm hoping that at our next meeting, we are going to be live. Yes, Tom? In person?
Ready to go.
All right. Because I would like to have the Jersey Basketball League champions and the Bernardsville Youth Wrestling, who also got a first place, to come and be recognized, because we haven't done that in a really long time. And, they did some incredible things with those programs. So next meeting will be live and it'll be hybrid. Yes?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. So that's all I had. Tom, you want to talk a little about how that's going to work with the?
Sure. Yep. So first of all, the mayor was hoping that we can be live today, but I'm just sort of just getting over my own quarantine and wasn't on site to help facilitate that. So, but we are ready to go. We have something called an owl, which does a 360 of the room. It allows people to see this same kind of screen, but then it'll hone in on whoever's speaking at the same time. So it'll create multiple panels, and we've been working with it, and Chris and IT has done a great job. Looking forward to giving it a shot. Mary, you mentioned the Q&A. What that refers to is with the help of the mayor and Councilman Ribeiro, we've been working on a Q&A related to redevelopment. So there's about 7 high-level questions that I think will help address, exactly where we stand on various aspects of redevelopment, provides a little bit of history within our borough, explains a little bit about the law, what it allows, what it doesn't allow, why a municipality would choose to do this rather just relying on standard zoning. We get into topics such as eminent domain, where and how and why, and where we won't do it, and what the process is for doing anything like that, which is very, very limited in terms of our own planning here. So I think it'll alleviate some concerns and questions and explain why we went down this road. And the goal is to update this regularly. Also provides a status report on the various projects. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is residents will be seeing Sini Drive mill and overlaid.
Yeah.
One of the concerns that has been expressed to us is, gee, didn't we just do that? Well, this is a New Jersey American Water project. They tore it up and they're doing the entire road. That's not municipal tax dollars there. And that's all I had.
Thank you. Correspondence, we just had a letter in your packet thanking us, the business partnership, for renewing our membership. So I just wanted to share that. And we had an invoice from the headwaters for the stream cleanup, which is the 23rd. Christine, can you just update us on I noticed they had 2 sites, but they didn't have like the pond area, which we used to do.
So last year, because of COVID, they limited it to a certain number of people at each site. So that's why we broke it up last year. And then this year, you really only need one place for people to check in, and then they can go to the other places. So right now we have both, they put both sites on their website. But if we want to consolidate, we totally can. But the problem now is that they put both sites on the website, so both of them are full. We always get such a great turnout for this event, and I know people think that there's really not a lot to pick up, but unfortunately there is, especially with the pond being so close to 202, and you know, a lot of that road debris or bottles and stuff really collects in there. And so we do need all the volunteers that have signed up. And in order for them, Raritan Headwaters, to provide the resources and such to support that, I mean, they really do a great job of getting us everything that we need to, you know, to do such great work. So, I mean, if it's really that much of a big deal to they're asking for a donation, I think of 1,000 because it's 2 sites and it's 500 each, but I don't know how the rest of you guys feel. I'm okay with it, but I understand if, you know, if you have a different opinion.
So which site do you check in? I'm sorry, Jay.
Yeah, so right now we have 2 site leaders, but so the check-ins will be at each of those sites. It's 32 and 32A, I think. Let me just check. So there's a really good map on their site. And if you click, it'll tell you like exactly where you check in for each town. And so there'll be one site leader at one site and the other at the other site. It is kind of a lot to juggle in terms of making sure everyone understands the safety.
So where are
especially
the sites
now, because there's way more rules. Just give me one sec.
I think one was Old Army Road, wasn't it?
Old Army? Oh,
it's Old Army Trail.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
So the trail that is gonna. Oh yes, if you go along the Old Army Trail, the part that goes from Audubon to the middle
over the
school,
bridge. Yeah, there's a bridge there.
Yeah, there's a lot of water that affects. It's not like a raging river or anything, but it's enough. Okay, and then the other place is Borough Hall.
Oh, it is Borough Hall. Okay.
Yeah, so
And I
mine
understand
look at Burns.
I just had a question on the funding piece. From my conversation with Tom today, this funding is not coming from the borough. It's actually coming from the state. Is that correct, Tom? It's some kind of
Clean Communities. Is that it? Yeah, the Clean Communities.
It's usually from Clean Communities.
That's great. So essentially,
Tom, I just want to
Jay,
make sure I got that right.
we're kind of approving almost a pass-through. Then if we get state funding and then it goes to Raritan. Or Christine, I don't know if you know that.
Tom, are you on?
Yes, that's accurate.
So this is a pass-through. It's
Yes.
not actual coming out of our budget.
Right.
It's coming from the state. And so the state, how much money does the state provide for us in this case?
Clean Communities grant? Yeah, I
I
don't know.
think the Clean Communities is a very, I think it's pretty big. It's in the budget every single year. So
If you give me a minute, I want to make sure I'm accurate.
Yeah, I think it's great if if that's coming from the state and if it's earmarked for this. It sounds like having 2 sites is great.
I will tell you it covers that expense easily.
Okay.
Great. So we clean up the environment, help the environment, and we don't have to, and the state pays.
Good deal.
Win.
Just bear with me. I'll tell you in a second.
And a lot of volunteers really love like the t-shirts. I mean, they really
That's a
do
great
a
effort.
great job of organizing.
Yeah.
And there's so many sites. I don't think it's a big ask on their part.
Yeah. And actually, I know one
To
year
get some
we got a
money.
whole team from some corporation that came down.
Yes,
that
from
signed up for us.
Nigerian engineering. They were
Yeah.
from all the way in like Red Bank, and
Yeah.
there were so many of them, and they loved our town, couldn't
Yeah.
stop commenting about how beautiful it was. And
Well,
yeah,
last year,
we get the benefit of them having a big outreach, you know.
we don't know until the state adopts their budget what it will be, but last year we received $22,000.
Wow. And what else do we use that for? Do you know, Tom?
So when we don't have volunteers, Public Works has to get in there and do a lot of cleanup. And so that helps offset that cost.
Yeah.
But there has to be a nexus to cleaning up stuff you normally wouldn't be getting into.
Yep. Great. Okay. Do we have any unfinished business? Any new business?
So one point I have on new business, I apologize if I'm doing this in the wrong order, but I have noticed, I noticed watching the bubble that there have been some complaints about data cables that are not being addressed in terms of they're not at the appropriate height. I don't think that these are a danger per se, but I've noticed with walking around town, from an infrastructure standpoint, up on Old Army Road, we have some data cables being held up by what I would consider to be like marine rope to trees. We also have like what I call hemp rope holding up data cables to trees. My concern is that a lot of our neighbors work at home, right? And those data cables, by the way, do go into Burnsville. I know of Old Army, we share that with Bernards Township, but you know, it's on both sides. I'd like to start to look at the potential to find out who owns those data cables and what their responsibility is. Those cables that have been held up by rope have been held up for the past year. So this isn't just a matter of we picked a short fix and now we're, you know, it'll get fixed when they can get a cycle through. They're just trying to get them off the street after a big storm. There have been several big storms and we continue to see this. And I'm also seeing posting on this on our community pages. So I don't know if anybody else has any details on that. And I'm more than happy to take it offline, but it is something that I think we need to address from an infrastructure standpoint.
There's also a lot of cables, the cable company cables, like phone line cables that have broken from past storms and are now just or replaced and are now just hanging on the ground. And they're not electrical cables, so the electric company, the cable company just leaves them laying in there. So
yeah, there's also on Mendham Road, the stretch between Claremont, and there has been a line down there with 3 cones for a good 6 months. And I believe it's Verizon that's the culprit here, but so maybe we need to reach out to our contacts at Verizon and see why they're not fixing those.
I have one on my street too, on Old Wood. Yeah, right past my house. It's just hanging.
So maybe if we can kind of collect where they are.
Yeah.
And put a list together and get Verizon on the phone. Because, you know, when you call on one, they really don't. But if you say, hey, there's 12, we need somebody out here to deal with this.
And there probably is 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
So if you know where they are, you know, maybe send them into Tom so we know what the locations are.
So your council's aware, we do get calls and emails from residents about these and we channel them, but I think you're right. If we say, hey, look, this is getting pretty extensive here and it comes from the mayor and council, might get more attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's like, just to jump on the bandwagon, I mean, probably a larger issue too of just having Bernardsville paid attention to by a number of the utilities. Obviously, you know, we're talking about Verizon. We've raised this before around power issues with JCP&L. So I just noticed the governor made a number of appointments to the Board of Public Utilities. We've talked a little bit in our priority sessions that maybe we could do a better job of pushing from a liaison perspective on some of the utilities that do work here in Bernardsville to make sure that they are prioritizing and getting answer to some of these. Like I think these are great symptoms to point out and need to be addressed, but they're probably part of a larger issue in some ways. So I'd be supportive of trying to come up with a plan to push on that a little bit more.
Yeah, we have come quite a ways with JCP&L, I think, in the last 5 years. They have really been making progress here. The issue is, unfortunately, with Bernardsville, we don't have a hospital. We don't have any senior facilities. We don't have, nursing homes or assisted living. And those are always what gets first priority, or a university, or, we're a small town. So I think hopefully once we get our senior center, it'll up us on the list.
Mary Jane, I think a lot of the cable issue, though, is just sloppy work. It's just they're too lazy to clip them off or finish them off right. And they're just leaving all these wires hanging because, well, it's in the middle of the woods. Who's going to see it? And I think that's part of the problem.
No, and that's Verizon. I was just talking about JCP&L in restoring power in the list of the priority list that they use. But yeah, Verizon has been sloppy, no question. We need to kind of, I think, put that list together and send it formally to them and get them to clean those up. Thank you, Jay, for bringing that up. Because those are the little things that you say, I got to do something about that, and you just don't follow up on it. So yeah, good idea. Anybody else? New business? We do have an executive session. We've got a couple of things to do. We will not be coming back out.
No.
No? Okay. So for those of you from the public who have joined us, thank you for taking the time to be with us. And it's early. Wow. It's only 4:08. So do I have a motion to adjourn to executive session?
I will make
I
a
move
motion
to adjourn to executive session.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.